Hi, everybody. It's Angel here. I'm super excited and happy that we'll have a conversation with Aquatic Animal Liberation today. So I'm looking forward to our conversation with Danielle. And I just want to thank you guys for joining and for either watching the live or the replay. So we will get started in a moment. Hi there, Danielle. How are you?
Hi, Angel. I'm doing well. How are you?
Fine, thanks. Thanks for taking the time.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, awesome. So I'm going to be playing with filters throughout our conversation.
Good. Love it. Let's go.
So, first of all, I want to, thank you again for taking the time and for representing Aquatic Animal Liberation. And also want to thank everyone who's joining live or on the replay. And I think we should just jump right in because we have a lot of topics to cover. And so the first question for you is if you could share with us, please, your personal vegan journey, how you started and how you arrived to where you are today.
All right. I was on and off vegetarian since I was 7. On and off, I was raised in the South, so there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity down there. But originally, when I was 7, I started vegetarianism. And that continued on through my teen years. And when I met my fiance, he was already vegan. And I had wanted to go vegan for many years. I just struggled with an eating disorder. So I was worried that if I cut back that much food, I just wouldn't eat. But upon meeting him, he showed me how easy it is, contrary to what I thought. So, yeah, been vegan since. Coming up on 4 years now.
Well, brava to you and kudos to your fiance for bringing you into the fold. So this is
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely so.
Awesome, awesome. And so I just want to say thanks for everyone who's joining. If you have questions for Danielle, please put them down in the comment section below and she'll be happy to answer them.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, we will continue on our journey of questions here. I've actually pinned them down below just to kind of keep me on track. So,
Okay, perfect.
so my next question is regarding aquatic animal liberation. If you could tell us a bit about the history of it, the mission, when and why it was created, and some of your initiatives, that would be great.
Okay. We originally started out as a separate organization in 2018. We recently rebranded to where we are AAL now, Aquatic Animal Liberation. We rebranded 3 months ago, I think. So we're just now getting started on this new and exciting journey. We strive to educate and bear witness for the fish and all of sea life. They're animals that tend to get overlooked in a lot of activism. So we kind of wanted to make sure that they had a voice too, even when they're overlooked unintentionally, but it happens.
Yes, and I have to say that I'm not proud to say it, but I was a pescatarian vegetarian for over 20 years before I converted to a vegan diet and lifestyle.
Okay.
Because in my late teens, I was in college and I wanted to be a vegetarian. So I started to be a vegetarian when I was in college. However, when I went back home, my inner circle was worried that, this just wasn't a good idea. And so because I was not strong enough, I caved and I went back to eating everything.
Right.
And then when I went back to college, I just became a consumed the vegetarian diet again. And
Okay.
so and then a few years later, for health reasons, I gave up what we call meat. So I was still eating seafood and some dairy and eggs, and then little by little I cut them out until I realized, oh my gosh, I can actually find food that is vegan when I'm traveling, because
Right.
proliferation and the abundance of vegan restaurants has just come to
Oh yeah.
you know fruition just in the last few years. And I really was kind of in a bubble, so I didn't really know much about what veganism was, and I just was just like living in my own little world. And
Mhm.
so I started off on a vegan diet, therefore of course giving up all that seafood and dairy and eggs. But um, I just really want to applaud you guys for taking up this cause, because I do believe that number one, yes, sea life is overlooked, but number two, at least for me, when I was a pescatarian slash vegetarian, I kind of felt like I was still doing a really great thing, quote unquote. Like I really felt like, wow, at least I'm better than eating animals that are full of hormones. At that point, my whole
Right.
thing was, well, the animals are full of hormones and chemicals and junk, and I really didn't understand the full cruelty of the slaughterhouses and the whole the fact that yes, animals are sentient beings, because a lot of us are raised to think that we are superior to what we call non-human animals.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely so. And one thing that I'm adamant about as well is that everyone has a different journey. Um, sorry, all my stuff is blowing away.
No
Um,
worries.
give me just one moment. Sorry.
No worries.
All right. One thing that I personally am super adamant about is that everyone does have a different story. To where if you started in vegetarianism, if you just went, straight into veganism, if you're somewhere on the in between right now and doing what you can type of thing, that's great. You are helping the cause. Thank you. Just keep going, keep powering through. You'll get there as long as you have the determination to get there and the desire to get there. It's significantly easier than you think, but again, we all have a journey, so just start somewhere, and that's a good place.
And I appreciate you, like, sending out that message of compassion, because I think that does get lost in some of the messaging that, we are so intent on, as I put it, converting the whole wide world, that a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, we forget to be compassionate. Number one, we forget that we ourselves started, on an omnivore diet and lifestyle, number two. And so I really think that that is awesome that you are bringing up the whole compassionate side of things.
Right. And like that's one thing that bothers me because like people are like, "Oh, vegans are crazy. They're just trying to convert everybody." And like there are a lot of vegans who make it feel that way, and that sucks because that just scares people away from the idea, from the community, and in the long run that's not helping the animals at all. So,
Yeah, and I found, like, I personally feel like I need to take more of the health benefits approach, because a lot of people who I come in contact with, I don't feel they're ready for the whole ethical side and the cruelty. And I feel like a lot of people are either in denial, or they're going to take it as a personal attack.
yeah.
And I also just want to say, and we'll get into your initiatives too. The other day, I had a conversation with people who are very close to me, and they were referencing how I used to eat fish, because, like I said, for over 20 years, everyone around me knew I was not touching what we call meat. So
Mhm.
land and air animals. So whenever I was with people in my inner circle, they would make an effort to provide some type of fish or seafood for me, because they knew that that was really what I was going to eat, and I wasn't going to be, entertaining anything else. And so the other day, one of my, people in my inner circle said something like, "Oh, you remember you used to eat that, and would you eat fish again?" I was like, "No, no, 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 I'm not eating that anymore." And basically I went into the conversation about how, the way that we're fishing these days, what we call fishing, the way we're doing it at the industrial level is draining the oceans and the waterways, number one. Number two, we end up depriving the other, creatures in the oceans and waterways of their natural food supply chain. And on
Mm-hmm.
top of that, as a byproduct, they're like additional innocent victims who are being caught in the nets, dolphins and turtles, et cetera, et cetera. And, they're not the target, quote unquote, of all of this industrial massive, draining of the oceans and the waterways. And so, the person said to me, oh yeah, that's not good, And so in other words, like I'm also learning on my journey, and well, thankfully, they and their immediate family are eating plants 6 days a week, so they're trying to just kind of clear out all the animals that they do have in their freezer, and so they're eating those animals 1 day a week to just kind of, but the other 6 days they're eating plants. So I'm like, well, thankful for that, like they're not increasing the demand for all of
Right.
this cruelty. And so yeah, I just wanted to mention that as we go along, like these are like tough conversations if the person isn't ready.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're very hard to have. And like you said, like the health benefits are definitely an easier factor to sell. Um, I'm definitely a junk food vegan. So, so it's harder for me to sell people on that aspect because they'll come over and be like, "You're eating pizza for dinner." I'm like, "Yeah, but I eat tons of plants too. I promise."
Well, I personally started out on junk food. If it was labeled vegan, like when I was out and about, if it was labeled vegan, I was gonna eat it. That's number one. But number two, my thing is that at least you're not increasing the demand for cruelty, suffering, and
No,
death. That's the way I see it. Now, as to
right.
what, and I personally, eat junk food periodically as well as a vegan. So my whole thing is, if we're not inflicting harm on our innocent, non-human animals and human animals in that industry, then I think that the burden is on us. But if we are consuming animals, then the burden is really on the animals,
Yeah.
not, I mean, yes, we're suffering too, but I really feel like, and I would just say for you, like as a junk food vegan, like I would just say it's probably a journey for you too. Like you, like you'll probably along your journey kind of say, yeah, I'm going to probably increase my whole foods or what, such and such. So, but of course that's your journey. So we're all different, but I just applaud you for, not increasing the demand for cruelty.
Well, of course. Yeah. I mean, again, like you said, there's a big difference between deciding what we put in our body and deciding what happens to another being's body. If I choose to treat my body this way, that's on me, and I can make that decision for myself. The other like the animals that are used for meat production and all of that, they don't get to choose that. They're forced into that. So
Totally, totally. So if
consent,
you
consent.
sorry?
I said it's all about consent.
Totally. And there is none. That's the thing. There is
No.
none.
Mm-mm.
Totally, totally. So for anyone who's still on the line, if you have questions for Danielle, please put them down in the comment section below and she'll be happy to answer them. And meanwhile, Danielle, if you could share with us some of the main initiatives that AAL is, I guess, leading these days, that would be great.
Okay. As of right now, we're trying to work on new content, put new content out every week. Um, we are really excited to start doing outreach events again. We can't right now, but as soon as we can, we're going to put those into work. Um, we're working on getting education videos out, and just general videos that show what's actually realistically going on, and education as far as what you're realistically putting in your body. Um, yeah, so that's our main initiatives right now. Like I said, in the long run, we're gonna work towards more outreach events, more like direct action type of stuff. It's just in the meantime, that's kind of in a weird place because of everything else going on. So,
Yeah, no, this global pandemic has just put, a stop on so many great initiatives, quite frankly. Yeah, I agree with you. I
but,
just, I had a thought because when I was eliminating seafood from my diet, one of the big factors, and it comes down to health again as well. And I don't know if this would help anyone live on the replay, but one of the reasons I started to reduce, my consumption of seafood and fish, again, without understanding the vast cruelty of the entire industry, quote unquote, was the knowledge that a lot of fish or seafood are contaminated with mercury. And
mm-hmm.
so that was something that led me to eliminate everything except what I called salmon that I thought was, wild salmon, and it was not, contaminated. And so obviously I wasn't fully informed at that time, but I'm just saying, like, along my journey, that was one of the ways I got myself to just say, no, 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 I'm not eating all the others. I'm just going to eat salmon a few times a year. And then, hopefully that will, wean myself off of it. Again, without really fully understanding the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's one thing. I mean, people kind of have to take it upon themselves to realize what they're putting in their body. Um, I mean, when it comes to eating fish, you're eating microplastics and all kinds of stuff. I mean, you don't have to be in the vegan community to see the photos of like the fish stomachs cut open and everything inside them. It's disgusting. And just know that, like, if you choose to eat a fish, that's what you are choosing to eat. Never mind the life that you also choose to take. But you're putting all that crap in your body, and ew. Why?
Totally, totally. And that was a reality that I learned about along the way. But for some reason, the whole idea of the mercury thing, like, that just stuck with me. And I was like, no, 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 I'm not eating all that junk.
Right.
And so, no, but that's an awesome point too. And of course, that's linked to the environment and the way we as humans are messing up the environment, in addition to all of the animal cruelty.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely so.
So, Danielle, tell us how vegans can help AAL at this point with all the
So
limitations.
at this point, you can stay in contact with us by email or by our social medias. Um, your filters are cracking me up. Uh,
Sorry, that was a mistake. That one was a mistake.
no, no way. That's funny. Um, the biggest thing like mainstream society could do is obviously stop eating fish, educate yourself on the practices, do your research, Google bycatch. That's a pretty big one. Like you said, when we fish for fish, we're not just fishing fish, we're tearing up the bottom of the ocean, we're catching dolphins and whales and sharks and turtles and all of that good stuff. So definitely Google that one. Um, and do your research. I mean, it's pretty easy. We're working on our website right now, but we're going to have a bunch of resources available on there once that gets finished. Um, and reach out. If you have more questions, then absolutely reach out, ask for help, ask for assistance, say, hey, I don't know much on this topic. Can you help me? Because, I mean, if you want to change your lifestyle, if you choose to make that choice, choose to change your lifestyle, you know? Um, take the initiative, take the steps. So,
Yeah, and I think, like, the like you're mentioning, do your research and look for resources. I think the more a person knows, once you know it, you cannot unknow it. You just
right.
have to it's like a stark reality that you just cannot run away from anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely so. And the fact that anyone is like, well, I used to be vegan, I guess no offense to anyone, but if you once were vegan and you choose not to be anymore, you weren't vegan. You were plant-based, but like, I don't like that word. That's a dirty word to me. So,
That's
again, I say
another
that,
whole.
so if you're plant-based, keep cutting out what you can where you can, for sure, for sure. But I mean, just take the plunge if you're already there.
Yes, and I have also struggled with that because we've recently had a lot of celebrities who have shall we say, gone back to an omnivore diet. And
Mm-hmm.
I also struggle with that. And in my mind, I'm thinking, no, I don't think they were really, vegan, because if they became vegan for ethical reasons, for compassion, for our beautiful animals, then and our planet and their own health, then I don't understand how they can then not be compassionate towards those same animals. Those animals have not changed one iota. They are still suffering, and even more and more, because unfortunately, from what I've learned, the global demand for animals has increased. It hasn't even decreased, and so it's like we're fighting an uphill battle. And when celebrities, quote unquote, go back to an omnivore diet, I think it's just super detrimental.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree, because then you have to look at the masses who are going to be watching that, and they are like, oh cool, this person's vegan, maybe I'll try that out, and then this person goes out and denounces it, and it's like, yuck, like um like the whole idea of, well, I went vegan and my brain stopped functioning properly and this, that, and the other. It's like, I've never felt better in my life. And again, like, if you're feeling any type of way, but you chose to go vegan for the animals, they're good thing there are plenty of vitamin supplements. Being omnivore means that we are completely capable of being herbivores. So why would we not?
I'm so glad you brought that up, because as vegans, we get such a bad rap for, lacking nutrients, for example. And there are so many, very, powerful vegan supplements out there, number one. Number two, omnivores are also taking supplements.
Mm-hmm.
So why is the, mainstream society knocking vegans for taking supplements if the folks on the standard diet are also taking supplements for omegas, for protein,
Right.
for calcium, et cetera, et cetera? So it really just makes zero sense. And I think it's just really maybe a way to kind of excuse their behavior.
Mm-hmm. And it's just another thing for them to be scared of, for vegans to scare them away, so to speak. Um, and yeah, it's gross. I don't understand. I've had a couple friends that um, went vegan, and then a couple months later they were like, well, my hair is falling out, so I'm going to start eating fish again. And I mean, again, educate yourself. Educate yourself. Because no, you can eat um, kelp, seaweed. There are a bunch of different supplements that come from like algae and stuff. And they're pretty easy to come by. They're relatively cheap. And again, like mass vegans don't necessarily have that issue. So it's almost offensive to blame that on the veganism, because everybody's body requires something different. So maybe your body just requires more of that than you're getting.
Good
So.
point. And yeah, and it's a lifestyle. You cannot compare a weightlifter, a bodybuilder, or a person who's super duper active to a person who's sedentary or, lives a totally different lifestyle. There's just no comparison. I just want to, first of all, say hi to everyone who's in and out of the live here, and thanks for joining. And we have a couple of comments. So we have Basque T 2021 Hype House. I love to draw a picture of the ocean. Well, Basque, I'm mispronouncing your handle there, but Danielle, wouldn't a person like that be super, awesome for the causes of AAL in terms of helping to, create content for your initiatives?
Absolutely. I would love to see it. Definitely. I do it. Send it our way. Um, yeah, we would love to. That's great.
Yeah, so please send your, contact AAL through their uh, I guess, Instagram handle. And I guess it's a good time now to say, what's the best way for folks to contact you guys?
So we're on Facebook and Instagram as Aquatic Animal Liberation. We also have a Spanish Instagram page that is liberacion_animales_acuáticos. So follow both,
Awesome.
send us a message, and we're pretty diligent about getting back. So
Yes, they are. I can attest to that. I can vouch for that. Awesome.
I never run our I run our Facebook, but I never run our Instagram. So anytime you would message, Bernie's like, "Hey, she messaged. Get on and check."
Thanks, Bernie.
Yeah,
Shout out to
appreciate it, Bernie. Always looking
Awesome.
out. What a guy.
Awesome. So we also have a comment from Wellness with Ryan. Hi there. And he says, facts. Veganism is often confused for a diet. Veganism is a lifestyle. Totally.
Amen.
Totally. And I'm glad he brought that up because, a lot of times in the vegan lifestyle, or I should say, sorry, in the standard lifestyle, a lot of times, at least for me, I think of land animals who are victims in lab testing, who are victims in, skincare, clothing, beauty care, furnishings, etc. However, sea animals or water or aquatic animals are also victims in this because a lot of components of, I guess what we call mainstream products also come from, aquatic animals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely so. Wine, that's a big one to look out for. I was pretty bummed about that one.
I learned about that once I switched to a vegan diet that I was going to, like I told you, I discovered there were actual vegan restaurants out there. And so that kind of opened up a whole new world for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that they would label wines as vegan. I was like, well, aren't all wines vegan? So I had to do a search. And then I found out, that fish were used as a part of this whole formula. I was like, no, 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 no. This is
Yeah.
not happening.
Yeah, and it blows people's minds when you tell them that too, because like non-vegans, I'll say like, "Oh, I can't drink that," and they're like, "Wait, what? Why?" And I'm like, "Because fish bladder," and and they're like, "Oh my God, I had no idea," and they're like, "That's nasty." I'm like, "Well, you put that in your mouth, so do with that what you will." I don't know.
Totally. Or even like beer. Recently, well, I was in Ireland last year, and the main, I'm not gonna like promote any particular brand, but the main, shall we say, what we call a beer product there, is labeled as vegan. And I was like, well, gosh, well, like what's in the other, like what's in the beer that's not vegan? Like, I don't, all of that was like new to me too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. Like Wellness with Ryan said, it's definitely a lifestyle and it's worth putting the effort into. I mean, beauty products and all kinds of stuff. It goes deeper than food, for sure. Um,
Totally.
Animal
So
testing and products and all kinds of stuff.
totally. Tell us a bit about some of the main challenges that you guys are facing. I know we're in a global pandemic, so that's a huge challenge. But are there any other like main challenges at the moment that you guys are facing at AAL?
The global pandemic is obviously the biggest one for sure. Prior to all this, we were having outreach events at least once a month, sometimes twice. So this is definitely new territory. I guess the biggest, other than that, the biggest challenge we're facing right now is making sure that we have content to put out. Because we can't necessarily be present in other ways, we're trying our hardest to stay active and keep people excited about it and all of that. With our rebranding, kind of a tough time to rebrand when we're only doing what we can over the internet. But those are the biggest challenges, and looking forward to changing all that real soon. So
Totally. You and everybody else.
I know.
Yeah, yeah. And so you mentioned that you are, increasing your list of resources. I saw that you recently, posted a couple of documentaries to watch. So are there any main resources that you guys can recommend for folks who are curious and who really want to, improve or reduce their negative impact on aquatic life?
Yeah, I would say the biggest one is Seaspiracy. It is free to watch on YouTube. It is, I think, 15 minutes long, so not too long, but it gives you the rundown on all the basic information, to where if you're interested and want to learn more, then at that point you can take everything, and go from there. So Seaspiracy is probably the biggest one. Um, Google bycatch, because you'll come up with all kinds of good resources and health and good information. And then another one that I like a lot, I think I posted it on the Facebook, but after this I can post it again. It's called The Fishing Industry Explained in 5 Minutes, and it does great. Gives you the rundown on everything, explains the lack of health benefits, like how it's bad for you, as well as the behavior or the treatment of the fish. It explains that fresh caught and fish farms are not what you think that they are. Because I mean, fresh caught fish sounds great, just like free range chickens and organic and all of that sounds great, but it's still really, really gross. Yeah, fish farms are like a million fish stacked on top of each other, sharing diseases and feces and all that good stuff. So, don't buy into the selling words for sure.
It's a lot of marketing, advertising, propaganda, totally. And I mean, we're all subjected to it basically from just after birth,
Yeah.
and it's so interesting you brought up the fish farms because in my process of elimination, again, not understanding that aquatic animals are sentient beings, not understanding all of the cruelty involved, as I said, I eliminated, aquatic animals because of mercury, but I also learned that this whole, like you say, this whole notion of fish farms, quote unquote, was like a cesspool. It was like, everything is just swirling around, and I was like, no, 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 no. I can't eat that,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good point you brought up.
Yeah. I don't, like I said, animals get cancers, animals get tumors, animals get sickness, just like we do, because plot twist, we're animals. So just know that, when there are thousands on thousands stacked on top of each other, obviously that's going to breed for greater disease, and then you're going to put that in your body, and I think that's gross. Do with that what you will. You do your own thing, but
Totally. No, I totally agree, 100%. So tell us a bit, please, about what you would recommend for vegan curious, vegan friendly, new vegans. In terms of like, well, they're just like lost. They're at a loss for what to do to start their vegan journey. Well,
mm-hmm.
what are a couple of pieces of advice you would give them?
I will start with saying just start. I know some people have like the non-vegan products in their house, and they want to use that up first before fully converting, and that's okay. You do you and what works for you. Some people go and throw everything out, which is also okay. That's what I did, just because I was like, cool, I'm making this change starting now. Um, but again, anything that works for you. Um, Contrary to popular belief, it's not expensive like everyone wants to tell you. Um, just clean up your diet. I know I joked about being like a junk food vegan, but most of my meals consist of like rice and veggies. So I try to stay away from processed foods in general, including like meat replacements and stuff. However, they're still really delicious. So if you want to try that, definitely give that a try. Um, but getting stuff like that will make it more expensive. But if you stick with veggies and rice and noodles and the things that your body actually craves and needs, not expensive. Produce is super cheap. Um, at the beginning of your journey, you're gonna make mistakes, and that's okay. None of us are perfect. It's about doing what you can do. Um, just be patient with yourself. Um, like a week or two after I decided I was vegan, I went out with some friends to eat, and there wasn't anything on the menu that I could eat, except I saw avocado egg rolls. And I'm an idiot, and I was like, "Oh, it's avocado. Okay, cool. Then I'm good. Like it's vegan. Good." Um, again, I'm an idiot, not even thinking about
No,
that they were egg
no.
rolls.
Right, right.
And so I
No,
bring them
no, you're not
home.
an idiot.
I bring them home, and my fiance is like, and I'm like, "Oh, there's some egg rolls in the fridge," and he's like, "They're what?" And I was like, "Some egg roll." Oh, oh. So accidents happen, mistakes happen. Be patient with yourself. Again, it's a journey, so just be patient and let yourself get there.
No, totally. And I mean, I've, for example, at the beginning, I didn't even understand that honey isn't vegan.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to like, get that out of my diet, number one. Or like beeswax was like hidden in all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
The other day I was looking for wooden bowls, and the wooden bowls, some of them were finished with beeswax. And I said to the
Really?
uh-huh. And I said to the salesperson, "Oh, no, 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 I don't want these. I'm vegan." And she's like, "Oh, I never thought of that." And I said, "Well, don't you have any that, are not, are like don't have beeswax?" And they had run out of well, they had some, I don't know, I guess of walnut oil,
Mm-hmm.
which obviously is from a plant. And so, but they didn't have what I was looking for. And so I was able to get some, based on some information I got from them. But like even like, or like candles, beeswax versus soy, etc. So I think it is a journey, as you said, and I totally agree with that. And it's or like the wine issue that we were discussing earlier, like we just think, oh yeah, they're just grapes, and people are
Mm-hmm.
stomping on them, and then they turn into wine, like, yeah,
Yeah.
they sit in the barrel for a couple of years, and yeah, it's just grapes. And
Yeah.
so I think it's just lurking in so many different what we call products.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for the heads up on the bowls. That's something that I had never even thought about, but going forward, it's going to be in my head. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
I just learned that in the month of July. I was looking for wooden bowls, and it was labeled beeswax. I was like, no, no, no,
Yeah, it's weird.
no, no, no. Yeah, no. And
That's
I, I just think like a lot, or even like jewelry,
weird.
I was looking for some malas, what some people might call yoga beads or meditation beads, and some of
Mm-hmm.
them had silk tassels on them, and I was like, no, 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 I don't want these. I'm vegan, and then I just got the ones that had like some, kind of a synthetic little tassel on it, but like,
Mm-hmm.
like this is, I hate to say it, but it's like a landmine. It's like a whole, like a whole new journey. You have to keep like, researching it every step you take.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, my mom makes like her own soaps, and so um, we use those to cut back on plastic and stuff. And when she first started doing it, she was using beeswax, and I told her, I was like, "Well, I'd really like some, but I don't want any beeswax." And so she found a different way of doing it. I think it's coconut oil. Um, And so now she's like been doing that going forward. And I'm like, heck yeah, Mom, let's go.
Let's go with those soaps, Mom. Shout out to Mom. I agree. And like you say, these animals are like lurking in so many products and we just don't realize it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, kudos to your mom. Kudos to your mom for sure, for sure. So tell
We're
us a bit about a little bit more about some of your future projects for AAL. I know you said you're, really working on your website and some content. Is there anything else you want to add in terms of future projects?
Well, right now we are anyone that wants to help in any way, definitely hit us up. We would love to co-create stuff. We would love to work with other organizations and come out with content and, do projects with them going forward. Um, like I said, everything is kind of on a standstill right now, as far as actually direct action goes. So right now, yeah, we're trying to, again, especially after the rebranding, we're looking to be as in the community as possible. So we would love it if people hit us up with whether it be project ideas or saying, hey, I want to work on this. Do you guys want to work on it with us? Yeah, just let us know.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure a lot of people will watch the replay. So definitely that will get the word out. And one more time, please tell everybody what's the best way to contact Aquatic Animal Liberation.
Yeah, so we are on Instagram and Facebook as Aquatic Animal Liberation. We have a Spanish page on Instagram called Liberacion _animales _acuáticos. So you can hit up any of those 3 pages. We also have an email, which is aquatic.aal@gmail.com. And then as soon as the website is up, we'll have like a contact us page on there as well. So hit us up. Also, if any of you follow any of us individually on Instagram or Facebook, you're more than welcome to message us independently. So we're available. We're here.
Awesome. Awesome. So finally, Danielle, I want to, thank you so much for taking the time on behalf of Aquatic Animal Liberation. And if you have any closing thoughts, any closing words for us to just kind of wrap it all up and put a bow on it for us, please.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. It's been a lot of fun, and I hope that this helps people on their journey forward, whether they're vegan or thinking about it or just became vegan. Again, it's a journey. Do what you can, where you can. None of us are perfect. Be patient with yourself. Do your research and actually think about what you're putting in your body. And fish are animals too. So remind yourself of that. It's
And I'm
easy
really,
to overlook. So just know that we have friends in the ocean too.
no, and I'm so glad you brought that up again because, like you said, I think a lot of focus is on what we call livestock, and not on aquatic animals. And a lot of people also just don't really understand, and I'm still learning in terms of the vast intelligence of aquatic animals and how they are sentient beings and they do feel pain and discomfort, and otherwise they wouldn't be fighting to get off the reel, for example, if
Right.
someone is out there fishing, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm really glad you brought that up because I do think that a lot of people overlook the aquatic life. And also, as I said, on my journey, I thought I was doing pretty good. I mean, I thought if I give up livestock, then I'm doing pretty good. And then, of course, I learned that no, that's not good enough.
Right. Yeah. So we're just here speaking out for the fish.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Danielle, I want to thank you so much. I'm going to save it to my feed, Instagram, TV, and my stories, and then I'll message you afterwards.
Perfect. Thank you for having me, Angel.
Thank you so much, Danielle. And thanks everybody who's watching live or on the replay. And we will get this posted so that everyone can watch it in its entirety.
All right. Have a good
All
day.
right. You too. Thanks, Danielle and everybody.
Bye.
Bye bye.